I am a good baker. I enjoy making sweet treats for everyone to enjoy. My DIL, Emily, is very health conscious and even more so now that they have 2 kids. She is the type of person who avoids sugars, mostly eats organic, and avoids processed foods. When the grandkids visit, I usually make cookies or something sweet for them to enjoy. Every single time she sees them, she usually goes on about how they are unhealthy. We got into an argument about this a few months ago about not giving the kids junk. I pointed out everything is homemade and I am not only serving them cookies. My son stepped in on this and we compromised that the kids can have 1 cookie when they are here. This was good for a while until yesterday. The kids came over last night and I made a batch of cookies. They were cooling on the rack. Emily and my son decided to chat a bit before heading out. During that time Emily went into the kitchen and threw away the cookies. When I asked her why she did it, she claimed I was doing me a favor since they are unhealthy. I yelled at her saying that she had no right to throw away food that I had worked hard to make. She got defensive and said she was just trying to help. My son stepped in and told me to calm down, but I was furious. Emily left the room in tears, and now my son is saying I overreacted and should apologize. I told my son that I will not be babysitting until he handles this situation and I will not apologize. Hi guys, last week my roommate Becca found out she is not only pregnant but 7 months along. She texted me that we had to talk today and I had assumed she would be moving out soon for more space when the baby comes. Instead, she told me I have to move out to make space for the nursery and her baby daddy to move in. I'm on a terrible salary and cannot afford anywhere else to live, plus she wants me to move out right now so she can prepare for the baby. Even if I wanted to move out now, the apartment rentals in my area are either too expensive or well below living standards, so I don't want to move. She went absolutely crazy the moment I told her I wouldn't move out, because I'm ruining her motherhood experience by not letting her family live together. I pay rent here and my name's on the lease until at least the end of the year. I'm not gonna pull out of the lease and I told her that if she wants her little family together that she should move and I'll find someone to half the cheap rent with. That made her start crying and saying how I just want to ruin her life to the point her baby daddy had to console her and tell me to get out of their way already. I've not heard her stop crying since, but I think I'm totally valid that I don't want to leave. Ida for not wanting to move out? My dad recently reminded me of this story, so I thought I'd share it here. It's truly not a big deal, but I smile whenever I think about it. When I was a young teenager, maybe 13, I had an older cousin with a small child. She lived in a basement apartment under her parents with her boyfriend and the kid. She called me to babysit for her one weekend and I, being a young teen, was stoked for the money and just to get out of the house if I'm being honest. I was homeschooled and wasn't allowed to watch TV or do much at home. I wand over and her and the boyfriend left. Kiddo and I played for a bit before he said he was hungry. When I went into the kitchen to feed him, every dish in the place was dirty, pizza boxes stacked a mile high, just truly gross all around. I cleaned the kitchen, as I didn't want to cook in such a mess. After that this became a weekly thing. Every Saturday my cousin would get me to babysit, there wouldn't be a single clean dish in the house, and I'd clean before I started cooking. This went on for months until I finally said something to my dad. Basically the conversation went like this. Me, do I need to go to Ella's this weekend? I don't feel good and I don't want to clean her house. Dad, why would you clean her house? Me, explains the state of the place every week. Dad, yeah, you're not doing that anymore. You go over there tonight like every other time, but when it's time to make dinner go around to your aunt's house, cousin's mom, and ask her for a pot and some plates. Tell her you can't cook kiddo dinner because there aren't any clean dishes in the house. So that's exactly what I did. Never got asked to babysit again. Rolling on the floor laughing. Edit to add, I'm so sorry to everyone who came here hoping for a weed story. This story is so weird. When I, 27-year-old female, was 20 years old, I was in relationship/FWB situation with a guy, now 40M. It was messy, we were on and off for almost 5 years. He was always clear he wasn't ready for a relationship and I was always clear I was madly in love with him. Every time I got tired of the situation and wanted to leave somehow he convinced me to stay, because love is free, we have so much time together, he wasn't ready to commitment. I asked advice to my sister, now 42F, and she gave me some crappy advice like made him compromise, leave Sfuff at his place and basically turn him into a boyfriend until it was too late to him to say no. I never managed to do that because I wanted him to love me as much as I loved him, not trap him. During the last night I spent at his place, he said he wanted to try something more serious with me, talked about some dates he planned, etc. Only to ghost me forever. It was hard. This was the first person I loved and he treated me like crap. 6 months passed and my sister came home. We both lived with our parents, saying she wanted to introduce her brand new boyfriend. She had have ton of boyfriends, but she said this was the one. It was a dinner only with my parents at our home, so I was excluded and expected to just go out or chill in my room. The day came and while they were dinning I ordered a pizza. I came downstairs only to find the guy I was with 6 months prior dinning with my parents and sister. I was shocked but paid for my pizza and went to my room again to cry. After dinner was over I confronted my sister in front of our parents and begged her to not be with him. To be loyal to me, her little sister. There was no way she didn't know who he was. I had showed her pictures of him, his socials media, where he worked, and she even know where he lived. They never met because he didn't wanted to met my family and never introduced his. But she knew who he was and she excluded me from that dinner because she _knew_. She said they met by chance after we stopped seeing each other. She knew how hard that rupture was, she knew how painful it was to not have even a closure. He just stopped replying, not even blocking me, just left me there wondering after 5 years. She knew that during those 6 months I was still hurting. I know how it was my fault. I was too naive and thought that if I stayed long enough he would be ready for the relationship I wanted and would learn to love me. Stupid, I know. She defended herself saying it was a coincidence and chemistry was there, she loved him and she wasn't going to lose the love of her life. This stuff only happens once in lifetime. When I was in my early 20s I would believe that, however now I know that there are 8 billion people in this world, there's no one love of your life, you can find the love of your life multiple times if look for it. My parents sided with her and said I should get over it since we never have a real relationship. 1.5 years had passed. I've been excluded from multiple family gatherings because he would be around and my family thinks I will bring negative vibes since I'm still bitter about everything. I have no feelings for him but I feel betrayed by my sisters and my parents. He is just POS on my eyes now. My sister is now 6 months pregnant. Due her age she had been extremely pampered by my parents. She still lives at home and is going to move with him maybe 2 months after the baby is born. Then they're going to marry. In my culture is normal that if a woman gives birth moves back, or stay, with her mom so the mom will help with the baby for the first months. A week ago my sister's friends made a surprise baby shower. I happened to be at home. I tried to talk to them. I don't know why, maybe because my sister and I were too close before and I'm sad we're not longer friends. But her friends acted like I wasn't there and only replied to me with yes, no, or silence as if I was the one that created this mess. Or I was a homewrecker. Or I tried to seduce my sister's man. I was planning to move already, I was saving money, etc. But after that I left immediately to a friend's house. I'm in the process to find my own place. 2 days ago I received a call from my parents asking me to have a talk. I went to their house and they informed me that the diamond earrings my grandma left me will be given to my sisters. Those earrings have been in my family for 4 generations and before my grandma died she said the earrings will be mine and my sister will receive a gold necklace. Grandma trusted my parents with the earrings. There was no will or anything, she just asked to give it to me when I was mature enough to appreciate/take care of a family heirloom. Now my parents thinks since my sister is getting married first and is having grandma's first great-grandchild my sister should have it. I'm really mad now, they're robbing me of something my grandma left to me. I don't think my parents are evil, I think they were toward my sister wouldn't marry due her age. Again in my culture a single woman in her 40s is something to worry for her family, and now that she's forming a family they want to reward her with everything. But I was the closest to my grandma, she made it clear the earrings will be mine, not my sister's, not the first one to marry or have a child but mine. After 2 years of being excluded in favor of my sisters I gave the ultimatum to my parents, they give the earrings to me as my grandma intended or I will cut them from my life forever. Not gonna lie, the idea of cutting my family off is too painful, but I feel they already made me and still makes me so wrong. I don't want them in my life anymore. I feel a little shallow fighting over this, but those are only things my granddad left to, they are not entitled to them. So Wednesday I, 16-year-old female, was sick. I had a fever and just felt really bad, so I stayed home from school and was spending most of the day lying in bed, but around noon I moved to the living room couch cause it was getting really hot in my room and it was cool in the living room. And some context, our living room is filled with large windows on 2 walls, one points to the street in front of the house and the other to my neighbor's house on the left of our house. So I went to the couch and I still felt hot, so I took off my shirt. At that point I was only wearing short shorts and my bra. So I was lying down for a few minutes when there was a knock on the door and my mom went to go answer it. The living room is right next to the door, so it wasn't hard to hear the conversation. So my mom opened the door and the neighbor who we'll call Karen was there and said, "Hi Susan, my mom, if you need clarification, how are you doing? I came over to tell your daughter to cover up." My mom then reasonably said, "Excuse me," to which Karen replied, "Yes, it's kind of weird what she's doing, exposing herself like that." My mom, now a bit less patient, said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that you could tell me what to do with MY kids in MY house." Karen then replied, "Oh no, that's not what I'm trying to do, it's just that my husband's office is right across your windows and it's hard for him to concentrate on work when there's a naked teen on the other side of his window." My mom, just about as dumbfounded as I was at this point, told Karen, "Okay, 3 things. First, my daughter's not naked, and even if she was it wouldn't matter because she lives here and she can wear whatever she wants. Second, what is your husband, a 45-year-old man, doing looking at my 16-year-old daughter in her underwear? And third, get off my property because we're done here." And with that, my mom slammed the door in Karen's face. My mom saw the husband later that day. When he was taking out the trash, she told him to stop looking at me through the windows. He was confused and my mom explained what happened and he said, "I didn't work from home today." He then apologized for his wife and went inside, and we haven't heard from them since then. And on Thursday my mom bought curtains for the living room windows. So yeah, that was my encounter with our neighbor.